Next up is Doug. Doug is the MD and co-founder of Mastt, a fast-growing startup in the construction industry that provides real-time Capital Works portfolio management systems for owners. Mastt is currently in market and used by billions of dollars worth of projects in Australia and overseas, including the Australian Department of Defence. Welcome, Mastt.
Thank you, Jamie. Thanks for having me, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. So my name's Doug. I'm the Managing Director of Mastt, and we're a Capital Works portfolio management system. So a bit of background. So when I joined this industry, I thought I'd be working on some really, major projects for big customers like the Department of Defence. So I joined headfirst into this world and basically found everyone was using spreadsheets to manage huge Capital Works portfolios. So I just really struggled with that. And for me, it's just no wonder that we have all of these huge projects blowing out, going over time and over budget. And it wasn't just the Department of Defence that had these issues. It was just across the whole market. So I worked for Department of Defence, state government, local government and private clients. And I just saw this issue of spreadsheets blowing out projects was just across the whole industry. And so I did that for 7 years. And by the time of my end working in industry, I was a program manager, managing large portfolio. And that spreadsheet issue had really exacerbated itself to the point that I just had no real-time information into any of my projects at all. And so we created Mastt, which is a really easy to use, elegant solution in a very complex Capital Works environment. And so we bring to the whole range of stakeholders in Capital Works a real-time, data-driven environment that gets them totally off spreadsheets and documents. So they can actually make capital allocation decisions rather than have all this information trapped in thousands of spreadsheets and documents. So being able to reinvest capital, to do more work with the same amount of money in a way that they've just never had before. So we launched in November last year. Things have been going really well. So we've got big customers like the Department of Defence, the Army, and also on the consulting side, Fortune 500 companies like Jacobs, RPS, Oricon, KPMG, etc. So we're in the middle of a funding round, actually. We're raising 1.5 million. We've been bootstrapped to date to nearly 750, 800 ARR in under 18 months. But to fuel our growth and expand internationally, we've opened up a funding round, and that's actually going really well and closing in September. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug.
Thanks, Doug.
Great presentation, and I'm certainly familiar with trapping all my data and information inside spreadsheets and documents that are hard to access and then get sort of executive level real-time reporting on. I'm interested on how it might coalesce with other business systems that people use, and they're not all specifically the same for every business as you go around.
So you're talking about in the ecosystem of other softwares in a Capital Works owner?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's actually a funny one. Most of the time, we're actually encountering spreadsheets, or at best, they have a SAP system. So there's just kind of nothing in that middle range. So actually, at best, they'll have a SharePoint or something. So we're actually plugging this big gap in the middle of a really expensive, difficult to train on Oracle system, and then a very low cost spreadsheet. So we're plugging that gap for all of our clients. That's really all we encounter in that space.
Thanks.
Which is good for us, obviously. Because once they get on, it's very hard to get off and go back to a spreadsheet.
Hi Doug, I have a background in investment banking, so as Matt has, I've spent a fair amount of time sunk inside spreadsheets, and I really like what you've developed. My question is on the name. Where does MAST come from? What's the narrative behind that?
Yeah, good question. So it's a bit of homage to our first program of works, which was the Naval Facilities and Infrastructure Program. So the Future Frigate program that the Department of Defence has buying these big frigates internationally, that was our first project. So a bit of homage to that naval theme. We chose the name Mastt, and then we added another T so we get all the trademarks and all the domains and things like that. So yeah, that's where the name came from.
Awesome, great story, thank you.
So I'm interested from an IP point of view. So you've got a first mover advantage. You said there's not a lot of other products in the market. How are you going to defend against competition coming into this space? Because I mean, this is a big industry, lots of money. There will no doubt be competition. What sort of IP strategies or what sort of technology are you looking to embed?
Good question. So there's a few aspects to that, but our main competitive advantage at the moment is having distilled all of this complexity into a really simple system. So that can only be done with input from industry. And then once you actually get customers onto the system and they start building up a level of data and level of reliance on the system, it's basically impossible for them to get off. So we've got projects that go out to 2028 and those projects are not getting off the system. They just can't go back to a spreadsheet, so they have to keep going. The cost of changing to an Oracle is too high, so that's great for us. It gives us a really good moat around the business, so we're defendable from outside threats. But yeah, if you want to add to that, perhaps on the information and cybersecurity side of things.
I can add as well. So I'm Jamie Surex, the head of engineering. So in terms of defensibility and how we protect ourselves from other competitors, what we're really investing in is how we use data. So we're collecting a lot of data on all these projects. And the status quo at the moment is that, you know, companies record all this data, they do the job properly, but then they just throw it in some archived hard drive that is so big that they can't even open it on most of their computers anymore. And so we spend a lot of time trying to work out, as our amount of data grows, how can we use techniques like machine learning to be able to tell the project managers and portfolio managers whether their projects are going well or not. And as we get more of that data in this first mover advantage, we'll be much more effective than other systems.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Thanks very much.
Okay.
Having us.